Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Austin Alves, and I'm going to be interviewing people to learn about different careers and how to live a meaningful and fulfilling life. I hope you enjoy the video. Could you do an introduction of yourself, who you are, where you are right now, what do you do for a living, your life story, sort of?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Corey. I am a community pharmacist based in the UK. I'm originally from Hong Kong and I moved to the United Kingdom when I was 12. And since then, I've been living here in Wales ever since. um, I've been a community pharmacist for 2.5 years, and I spend the majority of my time in a supermarket pharmacy. So typically, a typical day for me would be sort of like 8 in the morning we start, and then we finish at around 4 p.m. It's either that or it would be a 2 p.m. start, or we finish at 8 in the evening. I mainly serve the local community, so oftentimes people would bring in their prescriptions to be dispensed by us. So a lot of times we also get our regular patients as well. So they take monthly medications. They would get that. They would get our pharmacy as their preferred pharmacy. So the prescription sends directly over from the doctor's surgery. And once it gets sent to us, we would try and prepare it so it's ready for them to collect. Aside from the sort of the dispensing of medications, we also see a lot of patients on a day-to-day basis. So a lot of times people would come in, they might have like a small query, like sort of like a minor ailment that they're a little bit concerned about. Where usually we would be the sort of port of call when they've got any sort of issues or minor ailments. We'll try and have a look and see whether it can be resolved. And if not, we'll try and refer them to the doctors so that they can be seen by the appropriate healthcare professional. So yeah, that's basically a quick sum up of what I do and my background.
Mm-hmm. What got you interested into pharmacy?
So to be honest, with me, it's I would I would say it's more of a serendipity that that sort of got me into pharmacy. So I started when I was 16. In the UK, it's quite common for schools to sort of they would typically tell their students to go out and get what we call work experiences. So you fill in the form, you put down sort of what areas you're interested in, and the school would try to accommodate that. So they would set you up in placements. They would try and set you up into different work environments to get a feel, basically, to shadow
Mm-hmm.
um, sort of that industry. So I remember at that time, I really, for some reason, I really wanted to do law. So I filled in the form and I was put in a law firm for a week just to observe what was going on there. And I actually didn't really like it. I didn't really enjoy that at all. And I wanted to get a Saturday job. So I went to my local pharmacy and I literally just went in and asked them if they've got any sort of vacancies available. Just want to get a feel for it, basically, some experience, so to speak. So yeah, so they've said, yeah, you're more than welcome to sort of observe every Saturday. They did a half day on a Saturday, so Saturday mornings, I remember it was 9 a.m. start and they closed at 1 p.m. So every Saturday I went to observe basically to see what they do. And I remember doing that for a couple of months, and eventually they've offered me a Saturday job. So I was working there every Saturday mornings. And in the UK, it's you have to decide what you want to study for university. 2 years. So when you're 16, you need to decide what you want to do. And I remember at that time, pharmacy was sort of the only work experience that I really liked. So I thought it'd be a good idea to study pharmacy, and yeah, that was it. So that's how I got into pharmacy, essentially.
Interesting. What do you think is the best part about your job?
The people. I know it's cliche as it sounds, but it is the people. What I like about community pharmacy, there's quite a huge variety of things that can happen on a day-to-day basis. You could have like a very sort of not mundane day where everything's sort of like, just checking your prescriptions. But you can also have a day where there's a lot of different things could happen. So, for example, you can have people coming in, they wanted to get a flu jab, they want to get their blood pressure measured, they want to do a diabetes test to check their blood sugars. Or you could have someone even maybe from elsewhere. So you could have someone from abroad visiting Cardiff, and they would come in and they've lost their medication. So you need to help them to try and find a doctor who could prescribe the medication. So what I like is the people. You can interact with the public. There's a variety of things that can happen every day. Aside from checking medication, which obviously is the majority of the work that I do, but you can also, be helping people. So that's what I really enjoy about pharmacy. It's you help people and you do make a difference. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah, it's really nice. What would you say, on the other hand, is the most or your worst part of your job or your least favorite aspect?
So funny enough, it can also be the people. So you can have people or patients, they come in and they can be rather demanding. So, but that does not happen very often. The things that I enjoy in pharmacy definitely outweigh the things that I don't enjoy about in pharmacy. So, a lot of times, people, they just want to be heard. They just want someone to listen. So in pharmacy, when people, if people are unhappy about something, maybe they're frustrated about having to wait for a long time, and it's just communication. You just got to explain to them, look, I've got 20 other patients waiting in front, so everybody gets the same treatment, so you just got to wait. So you can have people who are quite demanding, but a lot of times I find that if you communicate with them and you listen to their concerns or needs, usually that should be resolved. So yeah, sometimes people can be, quite rude. They can be, not very friendly. But like I said, it doesn't happen very often. And the people, when you get the thank you, when you get, people, they appreciate what you do. That's a very good, nice feeling. So it definitely outweighs of all the sort of the negative, so to speak.
What's your work schedule like? So you mentioned 8 to 4 on some days and then a 2 to 8 on other days. So is that like weekends versus weekdays? What does that look like?
So it's actually got quite a huge variety. This is the sort of a lot of pharmacists in the UK, they actually self-employed. So I would say maybe 30% self-employed, 70% employed. So I go around to different pharmacies because I'm self-employed. So today I could be going into the supermarket pharmacies, and then the following day I could be working elsewhere in a pharmacy in a little village. The one when I mentioned previously, the supermarket, that one's close to home, so I built up a good rapport with them. So hence I work there quite a fair bit. So if you talk about like a pharmacy in a small town, in a small village, they usually open 9 till 6 on Monday to Friday, and then on a Saturday they would open 9 till 1, and they would shut for Sunday. If we talk about the supermarket pharmacies, they tend to open 7 days a week, so 8 till 8 on Monday to Saturday, and on a Sunday, it's 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. So for me personally, I'm quite flexible. I don't mind traveling to other pharmacies. So with the supermarket pharmacies, I just try to work around their store-based pharmacists. So they've got 2 pharmacists there who are permanently employed. So I just try and work around the schedule. So I could be doing an 8 to 8, so a 12-hour day. But I would just do that for 3 days a week. So I have the rest of the week off. I can also be doing, like I said, the 2 to 8 for maybe 4 or 5 days in a row, and I'll have 2 days off. So it's quite flexible. That's what I like about it being self-employed. I sort of have more time to myself. It's easier for me to spend time with family, to meet up with friends. So yeah, that's to sort of sum it up nicely. That's about it. Yeah.
What do you find yourself doing in your free time when you're not working at the pharmacy?
That's a good question. So it's important to sort of stay in the loop. So I try to, read some of the medical journals, trying to keep up to date with the laws and legislation. But aside from work, I play table tennis. I play badminton. I quite enjoy watching films as well. So going to a cinema usually once a week. And apart from that, like I mentioned, with the schedule, with the flexibility in my work days, I try and group my work days all together in a couple of weeks, and then so I can take a couple of weeks off. So when I've got those couple of weeks off, I tend to do a bit of traveling. So just try and go to explore different places. Just have a look at other cities, spend time abroad. Yeah, so that's what I do. That's what I usually do when I'm not working.
Seems really nice that you have that kind of flexibility to sort of, even on your weekly basis, but then you can also take vacations every so often, right?
Yeah, that's what I like. It's the variety, and
Hmm.
it's just more flexible with my time. So
Hmm.
a lot of people who are employed, they've got maybe they've got kids to look after, so
Hmm.
they prefer like a regular job, which is understandable. So I still consider myself fairly young at the moment, so
Hmm.
hence I don't mind traveling to different stores. I quite like a change of scenery, different environments. I don't mind driving up there. So yeah, you get about like a 70-30% split, and that's actually with a lot of healthcare professionals, not just in the UK, in America as well. You probably get a 70-30% split between the employed staff and the what they call locums. That's the sort of the terms you hear.
Hmm.
Locums is what we call it. So yeah.
Hmm. Do you see yourself in this profession for the rest of your life?
Um, I would say yes. It's
Hmm.
pharmacy is a ever changing, evolving industry, but it is one that is highly rewarding, and I've enjoyed my time thoroughly so far. So yeah, I
Hmm.
would say I can see myself staying in this industry for quite a while. I wouldn't necessarily stay in community because there's a lot of wide range of pathways and options with
Hmm.
pharmacy. So I know some of my friends, they've gone on and they are currently studying medicine. There's also people who decided to go into industry, so they work with pharmaceutical companies. Some of my friends, they work in hospital. So I would like to see maybe just to work in other industries, just to get a feel for it. And there's, like I say, there's a wide range of like options available. So I could
Hmm.
see myself staying in pharmacy, but maybe not necessarily in community pharmacy. Um, I might, just have a look in what other industries are like, just to get a broader sense of, what pharmacy is all about.
Hmm. How do you balance your work life kind of schedule? Do you ever feel like you're stressed or you have to like work really hard because you're like short on money in a certain period of time or anything like that?
So I'm quite fortunate in that regard that I don't really have any sort of issues in terms of money. I trying to do splits. Essentially, it's some of it I save, some of it I use it as what we call fun money. So spend that money, go on the holiday. So I think it's important to find that balance.
Mhm.
For me personally, if I'm feeling work doesn't really get too stressful for me personally because I do really enjoy it. So I think for a lot of people, when they enjoy what they do, you don't find stress in the work that you do. So
Mhm.
um, I try to just maybe at least 30 hours a week.
Mhm.
I think that's quite a good balance. Sometimes maybe up to 40, 50 hours, just depending on how I feel, really. So, if I've got plans for that week, if I'm going to see friends, if I'm going to hang out with family, then obviously I tend to work a little bit less. But if I haven't got any sort of plans, then I would probably spend a bit more time in work.
Mhm. So you have it pretty well, it seems like you have a flexible schedule, you can do what you want when you want. Um, but then unfortunately that's not how it is for all people. Um, Actually, let me ask a different question. Do you think because right now you're in a good financial situation, you have enough fun money that you can spend sometimes. Do you think that too much fun money, if you're, say, like Elon Musk, and you have all this money to spend. Do you think too much money can be a bad thing?
Um, that's an interesting question. Yeah, so I agree with what you said. Yeah, so it's important to manage your finances quite early on. So it's very important to sort of manage your money. So um, it's good to have a plan, especially with money. So um, as I mentioned earlier, so I keep aside of the money. So part of it is an emergency fund in case anything pops up. Um, I keep aside to save up, and then the rest of it, which is tend to be the smallest portion of that money, I use that as fun money. So yeah, so I do agree that too much money may not necessarily be a bad thing, but it's important to have a plan. Even whether someone's got a lot of money, whether someone's got a steady, of money coming in. So it's more down to the person on depending on how they whether they've got a plan in place.
Mhm. Now, I'd like to shift the topic a little bit. Could you talk a little bit about your experience in university?
Yeah. So with most of the undergrad degrees in the UK, it's a 3 year degree.
Mm.
So people only spend 3 years, unlike America, I think a majority of people spend 4 years in college.
Mhm.
In the UK, it would just be 3 years. But there are a few exceptions to that. So, for instance, pharmacy is a 4 year program. So it's 3 years as an undergrad and your fourth year as master. So everyone in the UK who's recently graduated from university doing pharmacy, they would have a master of pharmacy degree. Medicine's 5 years, sometimes 6 years. Um, so university, I chose to go to a uni that's quite close to home. It's about 20 minutes away from home. Um, First year, I've lived at home um, to save a bit of money. Second, third, fourth year, I moved out and I lived with five other housemates, and we all studied the same course. Um, I had a really good time in uni. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think it's a wonderful experience. Um, you get to meet a lot of like-minded people. You can join any society you like. Um,
Mm.
you get to learn, what you're passionate about. Hopefully, I mean, I've applied for pharmacy because I was interested in, what pharmacy is, and I do believe I've got the full experience, and it gave me a better understanding of pharmacy. So yeah, I had a great time. Met a lot of friends. Went out and partied a lot, obviously. So it's all a very fun and enjoyable experience. But
Mhm.
I can see why some people might struggle. So if you're not a very social person, then yeah, people might struggle to make friends. So it's important to keep an open mind,
Mm.
and I've kept a very open mind. I've joined societies, and at the end of the day, you get a very rewarding degree. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed my uni experience. Yeah, if money isn't something I need to be concerned about, I would do it all over again. So yeah.
Mm. What would you say the balance is between studying and life at university? How rigorous were your courses and education for pharmacy?
So it depends on how one usually work. So um, some people who are quite studious, they have a very good plan and they've revised throughout the year. Whenever they've attended lectures, workshops, they probably go home and make a lot of notes, and they know what they want to achieve. And I'm not that person, so that's never been me, and I knew that from quite early on. So I tend to leave it till the last minute. I don't recommend it, but that's how I work. So
Mhm.
some people work a bit better under pressure. I
Mhm.
wouldn't say I work better under pressure, but I just prefer, to leave it till the last minute. And
Mhm.
it worked okay for me. Um, I still did quite well. I, I Most of our exams are usually in May or start of June,
Mhm.
and some people, and uni usually starts in the end of September, start of October. So some people, they from the get-go, they on it, they make loads of notes. I left it to about March, Feb, yeah, Feb, March.
Mm-hmm.
But I know then when I revise, I have to be on it every day. So when
Mm-hmm.
I revised, I remember I was working 9 till 5 in the library, just rereading all the lectures, all the workshops, all the notes. So it worked well for me. So it depends on the individual. Everybody works different. So it really depends on whether it really depends on how that person is, how they like to work. So um, I think everybody just got to find their own way of working. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Another shift in topic. So, what kind of advice would you give to high schoolers right now who are sort of figuring out what they want to do in college? Should they, work really hard, don't stop, or should they like take some time to enjoy life more? Or what's the ideal sort of route?
Yeah. So going back to what I said earlier, I think everybody's different. So you've
Mm-hmm.
just got to find a way that works for you. Um, some people, they could be academically, they could be very good at it. Then invest more time on studying. Some people, they're better with their athletics. Then invest more time in it. So at the end of the day, it does varies and it depends on that particular person. Um, but one thing I would say though, across the board, it doesn't matter, whether someone might be achieving really well academically, or they do an average. But my advice would be just don't stress. At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. A lot of people, they end up working in an industry that's different from what they've studied. So yeah, I would say not to overthink, not to overstress. Just focus on what you're good at. If you're not particularly good at something, just tell yourself it's temporary. It's a lot of skills we learn in schools, they are very important, but it may not necessarily be relevant to what we do further down the line. So yeah, not to stress. Just go out and enjoy life. Just enjoy every moment. That would be my advice.
On to more philosophical kind of topic. What would you say, if you had to condense it into one word, would be the most important thing to you in life? Whether it be a concept like love, family, or it can be like an object, a thing, a person.
It's a very good question. I think the words I would use to would be family, because family always has your back. You can always rely on them. So yeah, family.
Mm-hmm. And final question, what is your biggest regret and why?
So I have no regrets.
Uh-huh.
You know, I've everything I've done so far. I take pride in everything I do. I
Mm-hmm.
give 100%. In everything. So I have no regrets. I'm happy where I am in life at the moment. Um, yeah, I obviously there's always going to be someone who's doing better than you on the service, but there's always you're always going to be better than somebody else. So um, there is no point in comparing yourself with other people.
Mm-hmm.
You're running your own race. Comparison is the thief of joy, as cliched as it sounds. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy with what I've achieved so far. I'm happy with my life. So yeah, there are no regrets. I do not have everything that I love, but
Mm-hmm.
I do love everything that I have. So yeah, I have no regrets in in life so far. I'm quite
That was
happy
good.
with everything. Yeah.
All right, one more follow-up question, because I've noticed from other people that I've interviewed too, other people have talked about how they don't really have too much regrets either. And one thing that I noticed is a good common theme in all of the people that I've talked to is that they're sort of grateful for what they have and they're sort of accepting. How important do you think is gratitude in your life? You think that's
Oh,
why?
100%. Yeah, that
Mhm,
it's very important to to like what you said, Austin. So it's important to accept you are who you are. Be
mhm.
grateful for everything that you've got. Live every day the fullest, and yeah, just enjoy the moment. Just be happy with what you've got or what you got given or what you've achieved because everybody's different, and it's ultimately once you accept that, it gives you happiness, it gives you joy. So yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Corey, for participating in this interview. That is all I have for now.